So the Dalai Lama, let's look at his latest tweet here. He says, "I feel optimistic about the future because humanity seems to be growing more mature. Scientists are paying more attention to our inner values, to the study of mind and emotions. There is a clear desire for peace and concern for the environment." Now, in my opinion, all of these things just reeks of weakness. This does not help advancing humanity because he's talking about, they're growing mature scientists. They're paying attention to our inner values. Well, whose inner values? He's talking about values here, but it's not like all values are objective, like Plato thought. A lot of people, well, most people in the world think that these, values and everything else, we have these absoluteness. There is some absolute truth. Even rationalists, they believe in this absolute truth that exists out there. There is no such thing, all right? But this doesn't mean that everything is true. There is a clear desire for peace and concern for the environment. The desire for peace. We haven't come here for peace. Resistance is necessary for the advancement of the planet and everything else. I mean, not the planet, but for humanity and civilization. It's pretty ironic that he's talking about peace and the environment, but we will solve the environmental problems not through peace, but through trial and error, which needs resistance, which is the opposite of peace. Peace means nothing, stillness. Peace is death. That is why Heraclitus was 100% correct when he said, "War is king." Greatness cannot come from peace. Greatness is not created from peace. It has always been from struggle. It's always been this way, be it internal, external. All the greats are great and few because they have loved their struggle. They've been in struggle. All the greats are within struggle. They've all struggled, and that's why they were great. Those people who don't struggle, they're not great. The masses just go on with life without a true struggle. When I speak of struggle here, I'm talking about a deeper struggle that is overcoming yourself and in all the layers of life, all the areas of life, and all layers also, because within each process, with each everything in life, even with diet, you have multiple layers, and then imagine all the areas of life and everything in life and existence and experience. And so the great, they struggled. The few, they struggled. They're always few because most people don't develop this. Most people don't go this way. So this channel is for these people. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to these people. And so the greats, by definition, create stuff through struggle. And that is why it cannot be peace. Not even Jesus spoke of peace. He spoke of that he came with a sword. Now, that is the force, the spirit I'm actually looking for here. I'm not talking about, literally here, war, waging war. We're talking about truly changing things to the better advancement of humanity, advancement of the individual first. It always starts with the individual, always. And we can think of people like Elon Musk and so forth. You see, the one man there, the struggle, his internal struggle, his external struggle, all of these things are necessary for him to have been created at all. And he created himself, and that is why he's great, and that is why the few are great. That is why he's one of the few. And that is why most people don't have these characteristics. Most people don't have these characteristics to be one of those few people. You have to have the characteristics of the few to be the few. You have to have the characteristics of the greats to be one of the greats. We gotta love the struggle. The struggle will be the advancement of humanity. I understand that we have a concern for the environment, but it takes much more than this. The root cause, the root problem of everything is not the environment, it's not the mind, it's not the emotions, it's not paying attention to inner values. That is not the solution. The solution is cultivating well-developed characters. It starts with every single individual and then it moves outwards. You start from the core and then you move outwards. So in some sense, Immanuel Kant, I like that he went from, the person and outwards. He went back to the human in some sense. That is what I'm trying to do as well, without denying parts of humanity. So this tweet was yesterday. His tweet on the 15th February was, "A sense of contentment is crucial to being happy." Isn't that the same thing? Happiness, contentment, it's the same thing. He could just have said contentment, trying to reach contentment. Physical health, material wealth, and friends contribute to this, but contentment governs our relations with them all. Now see, I'm not just against him, he's very correct here. Physical health, material wealth, and friends contribute to this. 100% correct there. It's not just physical health, it's not just mental health, it's also material wealth. You see, he doesn't deny reality. And that is a pretty well-developed character. I mean, Dalai Lama, he's not too bad. He's not too bad. He's much better than most, religious leaders across the world, across religions. Now, it's no wonder he is a Buddhist after all. But contentment governs our relations with them all. Actually, the second sentence there is also correct, because that is the joy in the process. You've got to have contentment in all of these areas in life. I call them the areas of life because he's actually talking about that. I call it, health, wealth, relations, that's friends, and, family and so forth. And then you have spirituality. He didn't mention spirituality, but that is also health, that is mental health. So technically we could just mention 3 things here, but overall we could also just mention health, because health is everything. So you see, a true philosopher and intellectual has to be able to, recognize what is true about a statement, even if it's, someone he doesn't like or he likes. I'm not saying I dislike the Dalai Lama. I only care about, the ideas here, and also, in the practical sense, if this is true in the human experience. Is this part of the human condition? That is the question here. And it is some of it. His first tweet from yesterday denies parts of humanity, but his second tweet is much, much better. Now, the second tweet is much more correct. It is shorter, of course, but his first sentence there is just redundancy. So he's not very clear. He's not a super clear thinker. So he hasn't, he should go deeper here, or, clear his mind here. But obviously he's not a philosopher, but still, in some sense, he's a Buddhist, and Buddhism is philosophy. So, and he's talking about, he's trying to have profound, impacts and profound statements about life. And so if you want to have profound statements of life, you got to have, some deeper thought behind everything, so that people understand that you're grounded. We might do more of these because I want to, extract what is true in some sentences and what is not true. And that's how we understand where we come from. Let me know in the comments what you think, and that's it.